The walking excavator is what we use to traverse and stabilize and mow the canals in the various locations. It's a very specialized piece of equipment with a specialized skill set for the operators. They were originally designed to operate on the side of mountains, but there's been uses to find them and to be used within swamps and canals. Its main role is to traverse into the canal to remove the sediment that's been washed away from the banks and into the bottom of the canal and reestablish that onto the banks. We got to bring the wet dirt from the bottom, set it on top, let it dry a little bit, and then it gets repacked into the banks to recontour and also to open up the capacity of the canal. Once that is complete, then we come back and either a time frame of the job starting to stopping, either Mother Nature has started to grow grass back through. If that is not the case, then we will actually order sod to be laid down to help ensure that the dirt that's been repacked stays in place.
Good morning and welcome to the November 12, 2025 regularly scheduled land use meeting of the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. Would everyone please rise for the pledge and invocation given by our chaplain, Commissioner Gwen Myers.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, I come thanking you for another day that you've allowed us to see. I thank you for every applicant who have submitted an application that we would discuss the business in your name. And we thank them for taking time to come this morning as their case will be presented to us. Thank you for everything that we do. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Myers. Mr. Grady, I want to review the changes to the agenda.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Grady, Hillsborough County Development Services. In addition to the withdrawals, continuances, and remands on page 3 of the published agenda, we do have a couple of changes to the agenda. The first one's on page 9, item B18, the item to schedule a public hearing regarding to a rate resolution and ordinance for water and wastewater impact fees. The agenda item report has been added to the backup for this item. This is the next changes on page 14, item F3, rezoning PD 25-0680. A couple corrections to the report, one concerning an incorrect reference to the PD application number on page 1 of the report, and then a correction on page 10 of the report regarding a reference to the reduced buffer, changing it from 35 to 30 feet. Those are all the changes to the agenda.
All right, can we have a motion to approve the changes?
So moved.
Motion,
Second.
Commissioner Woolstolz, second, Commissioner Myers. Please record your vote. The changes to the agenda.
Commissioner Cameron Cepeda. Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, before I entertain a motion for the consent agenda, I need to provide an opportunity for public comment on B17. Would anyone like to speak to B17 this morning? Seeing none, can we have a motion to approve the consent?
Move consent.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Cohen, second Commissioner Wilstel. Please record your vote on the consent agenda.
Motion carried, 7-0.
All right, this time, so anyone here for a B item, your application's been approved. And then this time, if you're planning on testifying today, would you please stand, raise your right hand so the clerk can swear you in?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You may be seated.
Okay, Mr. Grady, want to introduce the first item?
Commissioners, the first item on the agenda is agenda item C1, vacate petition 22-0016. Real Estate Services will present this item.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Victoria Rosenbecker for the record with Facilities Management and Real Estate Services. Item C1 today is vacate ID V22-0016. This is a petition by Robert and Sandra Carroll to vacate a portion of a platted public drainage easement consisting of approximately 34 square feet located at 4407 Swift Circle in Brandon. The easement proposed to be vacated was dedicated through the plat of Bloomingdale, Section AAGG, Unit 3, Phase 2, as recorded in Plat Book 78, page 36, and is generally located south of Nature's Way Boulevard and west of Colbreth Road. The petitioner submitted this request to cure an encroachment of a screened enclosure and pool deck constructed within the easement area. Although the county's Public Works Department policy PWD 0001.0/2016 generally restricts the vacating of drainage easements, Public Works Stormwater does not object to the vacate request due to the relatively small area requested to be vacated. All other reviewing departments, agencies, and utility providers have raised no objections to this request. Thank you for your consideration, and I can answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak to this item? Not, can we have a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Wilstel, second Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote on C1.
Motion carried, 7-0.
C2.
Next item is agenda item C2, vacate petition 24-0012. Real Estate Services will present this item.
Victoria Rosenbecker again with Real Estate Services. Item C2 today is vacate ID V24-0012. This is a petition by Brandon Tampa LP to vacate a portion of unimproved platted public right-of-way which consists of approximately 0.31 acres. The right-of-way proposed to be vacated was dedicated in 1923 through the plat of Orangeland as recorded in Plat Book 10, page 14, and is generally located east of Interstate 75 and south of Brandon Boulevard in Brandon. The petitioner has submitted this request for the purpose of furthering development and utilization of the adjacent properties. At the request of county staff, the petitioner granted an access easement to the owner of the property located at 332 Brandon Town Center Drive to ensure they have a continuous legal means of access to public right-of-way. Reviewing departments, agencies, and utility providers have raised no objections to this request. Thank you for your consideration, and I can answer any questions.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to speak to this item? Good morning.
Morning. For the record, Kevin Reale, 401 East Jackson Street, West Stearns, Miller. Just here to answer any questions if the commission has any.
All right, thank you. Anyone else like to speak to C2? Seeing none, can we have a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Wilstel, second Commissioner Myers. Please record your vote on C2.
Motion carried, 7-0.
Okay, C3.
Next item is agenda item C3, vacate petition 24-0015. Real Estate Services will present this item.
Hello again, Victoria Rosenbecker with Real Estate Services. Item C3 today is vacate ID V24-0015. This is a petition by the Corporation to Develop Communities of Tampa, Inc. to vacate an unimproved platted alleyway consisting of 2,975 square feet. The right-of-way proposed to be vacated was dedicated in 1930 through the plat of Oakland Hills as recorded in Plat Book 24, page 7, and is generally located west of Orient Road and south of East Martin Luther King Boulevard in East Lake Orient Park. The petitioners have submitted this request to allow for maximum flexibility in site planning for the development of 24 townhomes to be sold to income-eligible first-time home buyers using State Housing Initiative's partnership funds awarded by Hillsborough County, subject to future BOCC agreement. Reviewing departments, agencies, and utility providers have raised no objections to this request. Thank you, and I can answer any questions.
On this public hearing, anyone like to speak to this item? Seeing
Move
none,
approval. Second.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Cohen, second Commissioner Wilstel. Please record your vote on C3.
Motion carried, 7-0.
Okay, C4.
Next item is agenda item C4, vacate petition 25-0013. Real Estate Services will present this item.
Victoria Rosenbecker again with Real Estate Services. One more to go. Item C4 today is vacate ID V25-0013. This is a petition by Patricia Hiskey to vacate a portion of a platted public utility easement consisting of approximately 83 square feet located at 1328 Corner Oaks Drive in Brandon. The easement proposed to be vacated was dedicated through the plat of Lakeview Village, Section B, Unit 1, as recorded in Plat Book 56, page 42, and is generally located west of North Parsons Avenue and north of West Brandon Boulevard. The petitioner submitted this request to cure an encroachment of the screened enclosure and pool deck within the easement area. Reviewing departments, agencies, and utility providers have raised no objections. Thank you for your consideration, and I can answer any questions.
All right, there's a public hearing. Anyone like to speak to C4? Seeing none, can we have a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Meyer, second Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote on C4.
Motion carried, 7-0.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Grady, for E items.
Next item, Commissioners, agenda item E1, PRS application 25-1371. The applicant is Balm Grove LLC. The request is for a minor modification to a portion of the planned development located east of Balm Waimama Road in the area as shown on the map. The request is to remove a 50-foot buffer that's located in the southeast corner of the parcel. This was a requirement when this project was under the RP2 plan category, is now in Res 4 and in the urban service area. Therefore, the buffering and screening that was provided is no longer required under the current regulations. Given that and site characteristics associated with the existing location of existing homes to the east and, again, configuration of roadways in the area, staff does not object to removal of this buffer and is requesting approval. We're available for any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The applicant here.
Good morning. Cammie Corbett with the law firm of Hill, Ward, and Henderson. I don't have anything else to add. I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
All right, thank you. This time, is there any proponent testimony? Anyone in opposition? Can we have a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Meyer, second Commissioner Miller. Please record your vote.
Motion carried, 7-0.
E2.
Agenda item E2 is PRS application 25-1373. The applicant is 301 Waimama LLC. This is a request for a modification of PD that's located northwest corner of County Road 579 and Staffel Road. The request is to modify the single lot development standards within the project. This was a project that was under the WVR2 regulations, but is now Res 4 in the urban service area. Therefore, those standards are no longer applicable, so the applicant is requesting to modify those lot development standards. And the other changes are modify the timing of required road improvements. The required improvements are not changing, it's just the timing of when those are required to approve commensurate with anticipated impacts of developments associated with those road improvements. Staff is recommending approval and will be open for any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The applicant here.
Cammie Corbett with Hill, Ward, Henderson. I don't have anything to add. I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
All right, thank you. Is there any proponent testimony? Anyone in opposition? Seeing none, can we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion, Commissioner Meyer, second Commissioner Miller. Please record your vote on E2.
Motion carried, 7-0.
Okay, E3.
Commissioners, next item, agenda item E3, CDD 25-0843. This is a petition to modify the boundaries of the Balm Grove Community Development District. The petition has been submitted by the Balm Grove CDD and proposes to modify the CDD boundaries to add 14 expansion parcels totaling approximately 222.48 acres and remove one parcel totaling 0.91 acres for a net expansion of 221.57 acres. The Balm Grove CDD was established on March 9, 2021, and is generally located on the west and east side of Waimama Road, south of County Road 672, and north of State Road 674 in Balm. No objections to the CDD were reviewed from reviewing agencies. Staff finds the application meets the requirements of Chapter 190 Florida statutes to modify the boundaries of the Community Development District and recommends approval. We're available for any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is the applicant here? Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Brian Lamb with the Balm Grove Community Development District, here to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you. Any proponent testimony? Anyone in opposition? All right, can we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion, Commissioner Myers, second Commissioner Miller. Please record your vote on E3.
Motion carried 7-0.
Mr. Grady, I'll introduce the first F item.
Commissioners, the first item is agenda item F1, rezoning PD 24-0924. This is a request to modify a 11.57 acre parcel located on the south side of Dixon Road, east of US 301. The request is to modify the rezoning to allow for 36-unit single-family subdivision. Staff is recommending approval. Planning Commission found it consistent with the plan, and the hearing officer is also recommending approval, and we're available for any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Applicant here? Good morning again.
Good morning. Cammie Corbett with the law firm of Hill, Ward, and Henderson. I was recently brought into this application to help the applicant review the record. I did review all of the application materials. I did review the transcript from the ZHM hearing and have reviewed all of the materials that have been submitted in opposition to this application. With that, I'd like to ask Isabel Albert, our planner, to come up and make a presentation in support of approval of this project.
Thank you. Good morning. Isabel Albert with HAB 1000 North Ashley Drive. I know you've heard this last month, but I just wanted to go through it very quickly. This is a almost 11.5 acre parcel located in the urban service area, has a future land use of residential 4, and we're requesting a planned development to allow 36 units, 5,000 square foot lots. And then Planning Commission has all these policies where they found it consistent, and as well as development services staff found it consistent and approvable. And I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Cammie Corbett again. In my review of the information that had been submitted in opposition to the application, there's an awful lot of material in the record regarding a prior pond that was dug without permits and some wetland impacts. That matter is not before you this morning. That's already been adjudicated by EPC. There is a consent order in the backup, and it also an amendment to that consent order. Those consent orders, the owner admitted that there was a violation. They agreed to pay a fine of $9,100, and they agreed to wetland restoration. And that restoration, from Mr. Sanders' testimony, is in the completed stages with EPC. So that particular issue has been addressed, and the owner had accepted responsibility for it. Also, you're going to hear a lot about traffic, a lot of impacts related to traffic from a charter school or a church or an existing use. But the testimony in the record from Mr. Yates is that 36 cars is not a significant impact on the transportation network here. Your transportation staff in their staff report also supports that. There is one item that was brought up by the opposition relating to a cross access to the east, which is a cross connection required by the county. And we've seen this before in these smaller developments where the county requires a cross access connection to the east. But in this particular instance, it's not really serving anyone. It's going to go eventually back up to Dixon Road and out the same way. So if it was the pleasure of the board to remove that, there would be no objection from the applicant to that change. So with that, that concludes our presentation, and we'll be here to answer any questions should you have any.
Thank you. This time, is there any proponent testimony? Anyone here in support of the application? Seeing none. Anyone in opposition? please come forward. You have a total of 10 minutes.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kathy Moore, 10603 Dixon Drive, Riverview, Florida, 33579. I've lived on Dixon Drive for 55 years, and we bought the property in '64. We moved there because at that time there was no plotted areas, no platted subdivisions or anything like that. This was one of the few areas that was secure that you knew you could purchase now and live like that, hopefully for the rest of your life. Well, we have lived that way happily up until now, when somebody's wanting to change the whole dynamics of our neighborhood. The neighborhood is pretty much rural. We have animals, livestock, not livestock, but animals like horses. I happen to have a couple of horses. Some other people have dogs and chickens and stuff like that. It's minimal type of livestock, if you want to call it, or farm animals. But it is a rural type of lifestyle that's becoming very unique in our community. And I think it's advantageous to have a choice of places to live, not just a subdivision everywhere. Is that we should have different diverse type of areas for people to live. That makes our whole county a little more, to me, pleasing to people, not just cookie cutter houses everywhere as you go. And so we also have a lot of wildlife that you don't normally see in subdivisions. And it's because it's all been pushed to our area where we have mature trees, open space, and we have gopher tortoises, we have all kinds of sandhill cranes have babies all the time in our neighborhood. We have owls, we have bobcats, we have, you just name it, and we have it. And this is unique. And I think it's something that's worth being preserved. Why do we have to annihilate everything? And so, and the springs were brought up. Okay, I've lived there. I've taken my horses and the kids down there to play in those springs for years. And now that main spring is gone, but we still have a few others left, but they will all disappear. And this is part of our aquifer that's being completely destroyed. So I think all this is advantageous for us to have in our community. And so we all love it there, and we're hoping that you can understand why we're fighting so hard to preserve this area. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, please. Good morning.
Good morning. Brent Davis, 10609 Dixon Drive. We're a very unique community in Riverview, as Kathy mentioned. We have 52 residential property owners and the Vision Church. 35 to 45 of our residents have borne the burden of traveling to numerous zoning hearings and been continued many times at the applicant's request. And now we've had a continuance in this one as well. All who have attended have been in opposition of this zoning change. Could I get the people to stand, please, that are here in opposition? This has been every time at the zoning hearings and last time at this land use hearing. We are completely opposed to this, needless to say. All who have attended have been in opposition of this zoning hearing change and have made 40+ submissions of evidence and sent many emails in opposition, which I'm sure the commissioners have received. Most of our residents have been here 30, 40 years, some even 50 years, as Kathy Moore pointed out. They've been here that long. We invested here to raise our children and grandchildren, to farm, raise livestock, and other animals. Our wildlife corridor somehow, miraculously, still supports a variety of wildlife. We've been able to maintain our somewhat relaxed atmosphere amid the serious chaos of the overbuilding in South Hillsborough County. Our lots are 1+ acres to 10 acres with generous setbacks. We don't have the problems of many cookie-cutter subdivisions, such as crime, parking, noise, etc. The applicant threatens all of that by trying to build 36 houses in a separate subdivision in our community of 52. You can see from the map here, you can barely see the red outline, but all the green, that's all the trees. That's everything that's been here for a long, long time. And surrounding us, of course, are Panther Trace and Summerfield and so forth. And we are very unique in that regard. We met with Mrs. Albert and Mr. Lee, who showed us their plan. Our initial meeting group of 7 immediately were opposed to 36 homes. We agreed to canvass our neighbors to get their input, and all were opposed. Mr. Lee had stated to our group that if the community was opposed to the plan, he would seek another place to build. As it turns out, that wasn't true. We suggested 10 homes, which is more in line with our community and more that they would be allowed to build under current zoning, I believe. Mr. Lee rejected that immediately, saying there was no market for a larger, more expensive home on a larger lot, and he had to make money. We've heard that every time we've had a meeting with him. Ms. Albert and Mr. Lee held a couple of community meetings at the suggestion of the zoning hearing master, which offered no compromise and no admission of guilt from the applicant for the atrocities committed on the site previously. Dog and pony show, if you will. We've been dealing with flooding, soil contamination, destruction of the aquifer and the spring pond on the property, truck after truck of clean fill being hauled out of here on our substandard road, illegally running a dirt pit and replacing it with construction debris, which is still buried on the property in the wetland area. It's covered over now. Evidence has been submitted and hopefully reviewed by Commissioner's staff that documents the EPC orders and 2 quitclaim deeds executed during the EPC investigation in an attempt to circumvent the fines and liability. I've checked out the address on these quitclaim deeds. It's a residence in Bimini Bay, a gated community in Apollo Beach. These people are not all in the same office by some coincidence or so. They've quitclaim deeded the thing back and forth to avoid the fines and penalties. As was mentioned before, the fines were $9,100. We were told they were a lot more than that originally, and we asked, what happened? It's being handled downtown. What does that mean? What does that mean to the average Joe, handled downtown? Does the applicant have some influence that maybe we don't? We don't know. We were left to wonder. Mr. Lee told us several times that his group is not responsible for the unpermitted work that went on here. He is not, however, the applicant. The landowner is ultimately responsible for what happened on that property. And we have to wonder, how did this happen? Okay. Many of our residents have voiced concerns about the traffic on Sunday with 3 services every Sunday on Dixon Drive, blocking our road completely for 30 to 40 minutes at each service. Contrary to testimony given by the representative for the applicant from Palm Traffic, the charter school just north of Dixon Drive has parents parking on both sides of the road and their children crossing without a crossing guard. We've contacted the school several times. We've contacted HCSO. None of that has changed, okay? It's still a very dangerous situation for the children that are crossing that street. I know that this may not be something that you can consider, the traffic in this situation, but adding 72 more cars, not 36, but more like 72 is probably the norm, to that is only going to make it worse. But despite the wrongdoing that occurred here, we realize the property owner has a right to build on his property, and it's certainly not our intention to deny him that right. We also have rights. It's unacceptable to let someone who has no intention of living in our community destroy our way of life and ride off into the sunset with a handsome profit, leaving us to deal with what he leaves behind. Build something that's in line with our community. We suggested this originally, maybe 10 houses. That would fit in with our property, and that would be about a house per acre or so. We could support that. I would think the uniqueness of our community would be a strong selling point for the applicant. That goes away with a jump from 52 to 88. That's a big jump in the amount of houses. What precedent will approval of this zoning change set? Will others try to jam a few more houses on their property because of your decision today? What about the water and sewer? How will that impact us? We urge you to protect our way of life today and deny this application for a zoning change. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else in opposition? Okay, if not, applicant has opportunity for a 5-minute rebuttal.
Good morning. Cammie Corbett with the law firm of Hill, Ward & Henderson again. Just like to show a graphic that's the vicinity map. This is a graphic created by your staff. And this shows the surrounding area. And you can see that this is property, particular property is surrounded by suburban development at a density at 4 units an acre or less. It has been Res 4 for a long time, since the comp plan was adopted. And what we are proposing is in line with that. We're just at 3 units to the acre. And with respect to, is it making money or is a project feasible? So at 10 units, that's 1 unit an acre, we're required in the urban service boundary to connect to public water and sewer. It doesn't make financial sense to connect to public water and sewer for 10 lots. So we need some level of suburban density to allow this property owner to develop the property consistent with your comprehensive plan in your land development code. And with respect to Mr. Lee not being responsible, that is true. Mr. Lee was not responsible for the impacts, but the owner, through and by the consent orders, acknowledged responsibility. And that is done in the normal course of code enforcement, where someone is violating what the regulations are. Code enforcement issues a citation. The citations come with potential fines, but as the point of code enforcement is to get you to come into compliance. And so oftentimes fines are reduced in exchange for doing the work. And just briefly, I'd like to have Drew Saunders come up and address the environmental issues, and Mike Yates address traffic.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Drew Sanders, Half Associates, 1000 North Ashley Drive. I'm going to speak just briefly on the wildlife concerns. We have been on property. My staff has been out there, walked the property, and to date we have not seen any state or federally protected species living, nesting, or denning on the property. As we continue through this process, we will do supplemental surveys as required by FWC and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And should we come across any species, we will follow all applicable rules and requirements to address those matters. Thank you.
Good morning, Michael Yates with Palm Traffic. I'll be brief. I just wanted to discuss about the relation to Dixon Drive to the existing school. This is Dixon Drive down here. This is the charter school that they're discussing. That charter school was designed under the new code, so it has the adequate queuing that is required by code. At the time of approval, there was a condition that pedestrians, students were not allowed to walk to that school because it is on 301 as part of their DOT permit. And you're more than 1,200 feet from the school entrance down to Dixon Drive. It's not logical that you're getting people queuing on Dixon Drive waiting for that school. There's adequate queuing capacity in that existing charter school. So I just want to make sure that was clear.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioners, I know this is a difficult decision for you this morning. You're faced with people feeling that there's development encroaching upon their way of life, but we do here in Hillsborough County have a variety of lifestyles available. This is not in the rural service area. This is in the urban service area, and so it's a difficult balance. I understand it's a difficult decision, but ultimately you must decide based on the evidence, capital E evidence, that's in the record in the way of expert testimony by way of staff, Planning Commission, Zoning Hearing Master, and the experts that have testified in this manner on this matter. And so with that, we'd respectfully request your approval.
Okay, Planning Commission.
Thank you, Melissa Leinhardt, Planning Commission staff. The subject property is located within the residential 4 future land use category. The site is in the urban service area, and the subject property is also located within the limits of the Riverview Community Plan, as well as the South Shore Area-Wide Systems Plan. The proposal meets the intent of future land use element objective 16 and its accompanying policies that require new development to be compatible to the surrounding neighborhood. Goal 12 requires new developments to recognize the existing community and be designed to relate to and be compatible with the predominant character of the surrounding area. In this case, the surrounding land use pattern is mostly single-family residential, and therefore the proposed residential use will complement the surrounding area. The site is also within the Riverview Community Plan, specifically the residential district. This district is located south of the Alafaya River along U.S. Highway 301 and is primarily comprised of residential development. The proposal meets the intent of Goal 2 of the Riverview Community Plan, which reflects the vision of Riverview using the district concept map. This map illustrates the unique qualities and land uses related to each distinct geographical area as identified in those districts. The residential district encourages attractive residential developments that complement the surrounding area and promote housing diversity. Goal 1 of the South Shore Area-Wide Systems Plan desires to promote sustainable growth and development that is clustered and well-planned to preserve the area's environment, cultural identity, and livability. The proposed planned development to allow a single-family residential development up to 36 units will complement the area and is consistent with both community plans for this area. Based upon those considerations, Planning Commission staff finds the proposed plan development consistent with the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan, subject to the conditions proposed by Development Services. Thank you.
Hearing Master.
The zoning hearing master reviewed the applicant's request for a rezoning from agricultural rural to a planned development zoning district for the development of 36 single-family homes, with no planned development variations or waivers being requested. The ZHM summarized testimony in opposition, which was provided at the ZHM hearing and submitted into the county record. Concerns expressed pertain to the incompatibility of the proposed 36 single-family homes with the existing neighborhood, as well as traffic conditions in the area and possible negative traffic impacts of the project. Additionally, concerns were expressed regarding current flooding in the area and the environmental condition of the site due to previous illegal dumping and wetland impacts. In response, the applicant's representative testified that they have worked with EPC to complete a restoration plan for the site and that the work had been completed. Further, EPC issued a consent order after the site had been restored in accordance with their request. The applicant's traffic engineer testified that the 36 single-family homes will generate a low number of vehicular trips, and that concerns expressed by the opposition regarding the existing school traffic on Dixon Drive are unsubstantiated, as the school traffic does not impact Dixon Drive. The ZHM found that the rezoning request to PD for the development of 36 single-family homes equates to a density of 3.11 dwelling units per acre, which is under the maximum of 4 dwelling units per acre that could be considered within the residential 4 future land use category. The zoning hearing master found that the request is consistent with the LDC and with the comprehensive plan and recommended approval.
All right, thank you. What's the pleasure of the board? Commissioner Wilstel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to address a couple of the comments that were made. The first one is that you know, when we're sitting in these comp plan amendments, just for the crowd to understand, we're not legislating like we are in regular board meetings, creating ordinances and policies. We're adhering to a strict policy of laws to make sure that your local government isn't picking winners and choosers in terms of their right to enjoy their property. And you're met with a few challenges here today that are going to make it almost impossible for anybody on this board to reject this application. And that's because if we did, my first land use meeting ever when I was elected 3 years ago was us dealing with an issue where a judge was ruling against the county and we were being forced, first we spent your property taxes to fight that zoning, and then we lost in court, and then we were then required to entitle that property entirely because the vote, which was well, there's only one person on this board that was even involved in that vote, and I believe they voted on the correct side, which was to avoid the lawsuit, because this is a legal process. This is a quasi-judicial process where we can't have personal opinions on that. And since this is in the future land use category of Res 4, and that's exactly what the applicant is asking to, and then furthermore, they're adhering to, as you heard from the Planning Commission, your own community plan that was approved in 2006. Because they're not violating those things, I don't believe that we're going to hear one instance of a legally substantial reason to deny this application today. And if we did, we would almost certainly end up in court and lose, in my opinion, and then be forced to give it to them anyways. And I just want to highlight those things. That community plan was approved in 2006, and they are adhering to it. This is already a future land use category of Res 4. Ms. Leinhart probably for over 2 decades, if I was guessing. I heard the one young lady say that she bought in 1964 there, but really this, this challenge that was put forward was when the urban service area got put in and all these entitlements and future land use maps were developed. So this has probably been in place for decades. Is that right?
Thank you very much for that question. For the record, Melissa Leinhard. I do not have the historical maps at the ready at this moment, but my guess is just based on the land use pattern surrounding that this property has been Res 4 for quite some time, probably since the beginning of the plan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, I mean, unless somebody has something that they found that I haven't, I don't believe we're going to hear any legal reason to deny this. I did want to have some more information about this east-west access onto Dixon. Is it correct that it's going to end near on the same road?
Yes, sir. At this time, there is no the connection has been required simply as a function of the code requirement for planned developments. However, in this case, it is not creating any connectivity
east-west.
Correct. Outside of Dixon. It all goes back to Dixon Road. Dixon Drive.
I don't recall, did the community say anything for or against? Do they want this east-west corridor, or did they oppose that as well?
I don't believe that there is a identified benefit to the community from having that connection there. It would be internal connections if the property to the east were to redevelop in the future, but those trips would all still go back up to Dixon Drive.
Okay. I'm certainly comfortable with removing that east-west corridor. Unless there's some other good reason for us to keep it. It's really up to the pleasure of the board, but I just want to make it clear as possible to the community that they're meeting exactly what the community plan calls for and what the future land use map calls for. I don't believe that there's going to be a reasonable reason to deny this application today, as uncomfortable that it is to hear, because the prudent thing to do is for us to avoid a lawsuit for us, the county, in court, where I believe almost certainly we would be required to put this forward. So I'll yield. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Myers?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I want to thank everyone for coming down and sharing your comments with us. We must follow the requirements to rule in this case, so therefore I'm going to move to approve.
And do you want to include the removal of the east-west access? Okay.
Unless we need to hear from the applicant. I don't know.
The applicant seems fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe the applicant is okay with that removal.
Then I would include that in the motion.
Okay,
Thank
we
you.
got a motion by Commissioner Myers. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Wilstel. Don't see anyone else in the queue. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay. F2.
Commissioners, the next item is agenda item F2, rezoning PD 25-0588. The Ackman's D.R. Horton. The request is for a modification to a 124-acre parcel that's located on the north side of Roding Road, east of Balm Riverview Road in the Riverview area. The request is to rezone from AS1 and AR to a PD for a 210-unit single-family subdivision. Staff is recommending approval. Hearing officer recommended approval, and the hearing in the planning commission found it consistent with the comprehensive plan. Staff's available for any questions. Thank you.
Okay, the applicant here. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Nicole McInnes. I'm a land use attorney at Barbas Kramer Law Firm. My address is 2002 West Cleveland Street, for the record. Here today on behalf of D.R. Horton to develop 210 single-family detached units. Here's a location map that shows where the property is located. It is north of Roding Road and east of Balm Riverview Road. It's just west of the Roding Scrub Nature Preserve. It's within the urban service area, within the Riverview Community Plan and the Riverview South Shore Community Planning area. And the property is about 124 acres. As I mentioned, D.R. Horton is here requesting 210 single-family detached units at a density of 1.7 units per acre. The property is located next to a significant preservation area. In addition, there are no PD variations or waivers to the Land Development Code requested as part of this application. I'm going to turn it over to David Smith to walk through the site plan. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. David Smith, 401 East Jackson Street, 336. Director of Development and Zoning for Stearns Weaver Miller. As Nicole indicated, this property is located next to county-owned preserved land, and I think the surrounding property is consistent with the comprehensive plan. Not only is it consistent with the comprehensive plan, it's consistent with the community plan. It has been designed to fit into the surrounding preservation area. It's developed at significantly less than the density that would be allowed on the property. It also provides for 50-plus acres of preserved land to connect the county-held property that surrounds it to create and maintain the corridor. It has one access point, full access point to Roding Road. It has an emergency access, which is also available for use for preservation purposes, for maintaining not only our preservation land, but the county's preservation land adjacent to us. I think this graphic gives a clear picture. Xeric Preserve to the north. We have the large wetland area, which is not being impacted to our south. We have a Mesic Preserve. And then all around this property is the preserved land. The density is similar to the properties across Roding Road. We are not abutted by any existing subdivision, and we have recommendations for support from the Hillsborough County staff, finding of consistency with the Planning Commission, and the Zoning Hearing Master has recommended approval. No one appeared at the hearing in opposition, but we know that there were letters, a couple emails that were sent, and we're here for any questions or for rebuttal. With that, I'll close.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
At this time, opportunity for any proponent testimony. Anyone here in opposition? Planning Commission?
Thank you. The subject property is located in the residential 4 future land use category. The site is in the urban service area, and the subject property is located within the limits of both the Riverview Community Plan as well as the South Shore Area-Wide Systems Plan. The proposed single-family residential development is compatible with the existing residential character and density of the surrounding area. Additionally, the proposal meets the intent of the neighborhood protection policies in the future land use section under Objective 4.4 that require new development to be compatible with the surrounding development pattern. Objective 3.2 and Policy 3.2.4 require that community plans throughout the county be consistent with the comprehensive plan. Goal 2 of the Riverview Community Plan requires future development and redevelopment to comply with the Riverview District Concept Map. The proposed development is abiding by this concept map and is proposing residential within the designated residential areas. Additionally, Goal 6 of the Community Plan prioritizes the significance of improved quality, enjoyment, and protection of the Alafaya River and other natural resources such as open space. The proposed development is preserving approximately 72.7 acres of the site, and the environmental objective of the South Shore Area-Wide Systems Plan seeks to achieve harmony between development and the natural environment, ensuring that the bay and the supporting water systems are clean and healthy, supporting wildlife and recreation. Based upon those considerations, Planning Commission staff finds the proposed plan development consistent with the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan, subject to the proposed conditions by Development Services. Thank you.
Hearing Master.
The Zoning Hearing Master reviewed the applicant's request for a rezoning from AS1 and AR to a planned development zoning district for the development of 210 single-family detached homes. No planned development variations or waivers are requested. The Zoning Hearing Master noted that the property is immediately adjacent to Hillsborough County-owned property to the north, east, and south. The county property is vacant and designated as a natural preservation area. The property fronts Roding Road to the south, and further south is agricultural and single-family residential development. No testimony in opposition was provided at the ZHM hearing, and the Zoning Hearing Master concluded that the request to rezone to a planned development for the development of 210 single-family detached homes is compatible with the area and consistent with the Land Development Code and Comprehensive Plan, and recommended approval.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Move approval.
Motion, Commissioner Wellstone, second, Commissioner Cohen. I don't see anyone in the queue. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
F3.
Commissioners, next item is agenda item F3, rezoning PD 25-0680. The request is a rezone of 1.7 acre parcel on the southwest corner of Glen Avenue and West Limbright. The request is to rezone to a planned development to allow for 22 units, 21 multifamily units, and 1 single-family unit. Staff is not recommending approval, primarily related to request to reduce buffers, a reduced buffer along the eastern boundary adjacent to single-family residential. Planning Commission found it inconsistent, and the hearing officer also found it not approvable. Staff is available for any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Applicant here. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Todd Pressman, 200 2nd Avenue South, number 451 in St. Petersburg. We're located just from Lambright Avenue, just east of Himes. It's in the mid-Hillsborough County general area. Looking closely from Lambright, the site contains 4 separate parcels. You see 1, 2, 3, and 4 all together. Yasmani Cellular is the owner, runs a small business where item number 3 is, and he owns the property as indicated under the property boundaries. So this is a PD, 1.7 acres, proposes 21 multifamily homes and 1 single-family home, so the total units is 22. And this is the PD plan. Access is on Lambright, and you see there are 3 separate buildings proposed. The smaller building up front is existing as a single family. Look at the zoning. It is a mix of zoning, RMC 20, RSC 9, BPO, CN. It's a real mix, RMC 20 of commercial and a higher density residential, particularly RMC 20 to the rear, as you can see here. Future land use map is all R20, so it's a higher density residential. And pretty much the surrounding uses are all multifamily. This is across Glen, abutting to the west, and abutting south. Again, R20 is the area. Now, we do have a couple of variations. And one of the major considerations of that is that the site is very long and very thin, very deep in that respect, so it creates a difficult ratio for the type of design, for any type of design that would come through to the site. So as you can see, variation number 2 is really just a reduction between the vehicular drive area, the driveway, and single family to the south. And that is a request that is for 10 feet versus 20 foot for a B buffer. The only area that reduces between structures is about 40 feet, as you can see here. The rest is just the vehicular drive area. The second is allow a 20-foot B buffer with a 5-foot sidewalk, which is just in this area here that's highlighted. We've increased the landscaping between the two. We'd still have 20 feet, but there's a sidewalk in between. And this is a graphic, as well as this graphic, as to what would be proposed. I will tell you, Commissioners, we had no opposition at the ZHM. There are none on file. In fact, I just checked a few minutes ago. We noticed 53 people on one notice, but we've done several notices. So it is, in fact, that we've noticed 231 times for this project. We've had no opposition, no one come forward. Commissioners, I have to tell you that what I want to present to you is that what you have before you is a classic governmental catch-22 that just circles around on a catch-22. Because when you read the Planning Commission report, they note that it is compatible, and that's a quote, with existing development. Quote from the Planning Commission report, that it does meet policies that require new development to be compatible and is consistent. But if you pick up the Planning Commission report, their finding is that it is inconsistent. Pull up the Planning Commission report, their finding is that it is inconsistent. Yet in their report, they tell you that we are compatible with new development, and consistent. They brought forward a policy that I haven't seen before. I've been coming down here almost as long as your chairman. And it's a policy that refers to C&C areas, centers and connections, that requires connections between different areas of a property. So we're proposing 22 units. That policy requires 25 units. We're 3 units short for not meeting that policy. That's all, just 3 units. And of course, the county, and we've all been trying to move forward to provide housing, particularly this type of housing, which is missing middle housing. It's not real expensive housing, it's not affordable housing. It's that missing middle that would provide 21 multi-units and the 1 existing single-family home. Now, as well, there's an exclusion to the C&C area policy, which is if it is incompatible with the area. And I would tell you that we meet that exclusion as well, because your zoning code, if you add more units and can't fit them in, you have to go up. As you go up, you're required to do much bigger buffers. We're abutting single family on the south. That would be incompatible to the single family and to the other surrounding properties. So not only is it a catch-22 that we can't get out of because the Planning Commission finds it consistent yet not consistent, and that we don't meet the C&C policy, which we're only 3 units short, those elements follow through as well with the zoning department. And when you look at the zoning hearing master report, reading directly from it, they note the Planning Commission staff does not support the request. The Planning Commission found the request townhomes consistent and compatible with the existing development pattern. Development Services notes the lack of compliance with the required buffering and screening for the additional buildings, which we are providing. As I showed you, we are providing substantially more screening, and we actually do meet the buffering. The issue is the sidewalk. The other issue is the vehicular, the difference, the point between the vehicular circulation driveway and this project. And critically, again, we've had absolutely no opposition, no calls, no emails, no letters. I don't know if anyone come forward, but I very much doubt that. So in respect to the comprehensive plan itself, there are policies that support us very well. Goal number 1, ensure fair and equal access to housing for all people in Hillsborough County, support a range of housing options to affordably meet the needs of current and future residents. That's exactly what this project does. Policy 1.1.8, encourage a variety of housing types, including single-family, multifamily, and missing middle housing to diversify the housing stock, provide Hillsborough County residents with more housing options across a range of income levels. That's exactly what we're doing. Policy 1.2.6, promote residential infill development, which this is, within the urban service area, which this is, through measures including but not limited to flexible building envelope, which is what we're doing. Parking, access, and setbacks. Remember, as I showed you up front, this is a very long, thin, not wide site, and that creates issues, or that creates a little more difficulty compared to other projects to make it work. And linking housing and transportation, strategically locate housing in conjunction with supportive transportation infrastructure, and HART does provide a stop literally within stone's throw, just less than a short walk from the site. So with great respect to the Planning Commission, their finding, and great respect to the Development Services, we believe this is a project that is well supported. The community has been more than noticed. Along with 231 notices are the large yellow signs that have been out there for months. So we appreciate your attention and consideration. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Any proponent testimony? Anyone in opposition? Planning Commission?
Thank you. The subject property is located in the residential 20 future land use category. The site is in the urban service area, and the subject property is not located within the limits of a community plan. The site is located within a designated center and connection area, which is intended to promote focused growth within the urban service area by encouraging a variety of densities, intensities, and forms of development fronting identified connections and within centers as shown on the Centers and Connections map. The Centers and Connection map and its associated policies were a new addition, which was part of the future land use section update 2 years ago. The purpose of the Centers and Connection framework is to focus on the county's redevelopment and infill efforts by promoting residential and commercial choices, encouraging economic growth, improving present conditions of infrastructure, and also leveraging the reinvestment of these areas. In accordance with future land use section policy 2.2.4, all new development or redevelopment shall meet a minimum density of 75% of the allowable density of the adopted future land use category. Exceptions to this policy under the Centers and Connections framework are permitted only under specific conditions that must clearly be met to justify a deviation from the minimum density requirement. The first exception applies when the proposed development is incompatible with and would negatively impact the surrounding development pattern within a 1,000-foot radius. The second exception allows for deviation if the development would have an adverse impact on environmental features on the site or adjacent to the site. The third exception applies when the development is restricted to agricultural uses and would not permit the further subdivision of residential lots. The subject site is 1.7 acres in size, approximately, allowing for a maximum density of 34 dwelling units. To comply with the 75% minimum density requirement in the centers and connection areas, a minimum of 25 units would be needed for this project. The proposed development includes 21 townhomes and 1 existing single-family residence totaling 22 development units. An additional 3 units would be needed in order to fulfill the density requirement in the centers and connections language. The applicant submitted a written request for relief from the minimum density requirement in these areas. In the request, the applicant cites the unusual configuration of the site, specifically the deep depth and limited width that would not be able to accommodate an additional 3 units. According to the applicant, adding 3 more units would either necessitate increased building height or result in overcrowded unit placement, which would negatively affect the functionality and livability of the residences. Planning Commission staff has reviewed the justification and determined that the request does not meet the criteria for the compatibility exception. The proposed townhomes are compatible with the surrounding development and would not adversely impact the existing area. The surrounding area includes townhomes and single-family residential uses, as well as non-residential uses such as a daycare. As such, the compatibility-based exception is not applicable in this case and is not recommended for approval. Additionally, the environmental and agricultural exceptions are also not applicable to the site. While the proposed development of 21 townhomes aligns with the intent of future land use section objective 1.1, which calls for growth in the urban service area, it does not satisfy the minimum density requirements established under the centers and connections policies of the comprehensive plan. Based upon those considerations, Planning Commission staff finds the proposed plan development inconsistent with the comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Hearing Master.
The zoning hearing master reviewed the applicant's request for rezoning from RSC9 and plan development to the plan development zoning district for the development of 21 townhomes and 1 single-family home. 2 plan development variations are requested to the required additional setback for buildings over 20 feet in height and the required buffering and screening. The variation requests were found by the ZHM to be not in compliance with the LDC, as they are not in harmony with the intent of the land development code requirement and could adversely impact the single-family residential homes to the east due to the proposed maximum building height of 50 feet. The zoning hearing master noted that the Development Services Department does not support the rezoning request based on the lack of compliance with the required buffering and screening and additional setbacks required for buildings over 20 feet in height. The zoning hearing master found that the proposed location of the multifamily portion of the subject property is adjacent to the multifamily to the south and office, limited retail, and a child care center to the west. Although the Development Services Department staff report states that the proposed height of the multifamily structures is 35 feet, the zoning hearing master noted that the applicant's proposed conditions, which were received by Hillsborough County on September 5th, state that the maximum building height is 50 feet. While townhomes are compatible with the development pattern in the area, the zoning hearing master stated that the proposed maximum building height of 50 feet is incompatible with the single-family residential homes to the east, given the inability to meet the required buffering and setback standards. The zoning hearing master concluded with a recommendation of denial.
Going to board discussion. Commissioner Wostel.
Is it correct that if they were over the 25 units then, that you guys would have supported this?
Yes, from a planning commission and comprehensive plan perspective, yes, we would have. Based on the surrounding development pattern and the current future land use designation of residential 20, that is the type of development that is to be expected in this area.
Okay, just pointing that out because that's certainly not what the community wants. I just don't know how I can get over that 10-foot buffer. That seems like a big challenge, Mr. Gormley. Is that correct, that they want a 10-foot buffer between what type of building?
Commissioner, I believe that that's a 10-foot buffer from their internal access drive for that, and that was part of the reason that we were not supporting of the application.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's 10 foot's pretty small.
Yes, sir.
I would just say that I would be willing to overcome the centers and connections rule, just because, I mean, what we hear most often is that people don't want more density, and it makes me nervous that if they did come with more density, that there'd be a chance that they got partial support and it went through. I don't know what we can do about the 10-foot buffer aspects, though, so I'll yield.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board? Commissioner Cohen?
I just wonder if maybe the applicant could just come up and explain to us why the 10-foot buffer is necessary from your point of view. Why you can't do why you can't do larger.
I would say the first critical factor is that the 10-foot buffer is proposed only for the driveway area. The closest building structure to the south is 40 feet. So we have single family to the south. I'm showing you the highlighted area between the closest building of the project is 40 feet. So the buffer that we're proposing is 10 feet in that vehicular drive area. The difficulty is really the shape and depth of the property. In order to really be able to develop the site even to a minimum of 23 units, there's a difficulty to work with and restrict. So we place buildings as far from the single family as we could, and the only abutting uses are the driveway. I don't know, Chris,
Could you, would you be able to provide some landscape screening in that area to try to mitigate it a little bit?
Yeah, we're required to be. We're always happy to work with the board and provide more. Right now, it's a B buffer, and we're always happy to increase screening between the two, and we can work with your staff for a level of screening that would increase that. I would say that we'd be able to increase that 25% on the screening material, whatever the commission would need to feel comfortable.
I think that may be the best we're going to be able to do on this because, I mean, it just doesn't look like there's any room.
It's a tight site, but we've been able to situate the active parts, the living building areas, away from the single family and more in the BPOs and the CNs.
Adam, do you have a recommendation on what would be the best additional screening that we could add?
Yeah, I think, Commissioner, if the applicant is offering a 25%, we do have a number of trees that would be permitted or required based on their centers. If that was the offer, that was something that we could implement the time of site.
All right, Commissioner Wostel.
I would offer to the commission 30%, 1/3 more, 30% more.
Okay, thank you.
And what's the existing one-story building that you had on that map that was up there? And that's what you're wanting to keep?
I'm showing to highlight what the adjacent uses are. If I'm answering your question, is the closest part of any building structure along that is 40 feet, if I'm answering your question, Commissioner.
It's an existing single-family home. I gotcha. Okay. I mean, I'm mostly concerned about the reasons for us denying it are about height and stuff, and we all know what will override us in the future potentially as the direction of Tallahassee goes. But I just don't know what else could be done on this little site. So I'd be interested in supporting it. In the fact that I don't want it to get approved with more density in the future potentially. So for those reasons, I would move for approval.
Second.
With the additional buffer?
Yes, Mr. Chair, with the additional 30% increased buffering on the 10-foot section.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Wellstone, second Commissioner Myers. Don't see anyone else in the queue. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Next item.
Commissioners, the next item is agenda item F4, rezoning PD 25-0802. Before we go into presentations, Johanna Lunder of the County Attorney's Office has a brief statement she'd like to make.
Thank you, Mr. Grady. Following the August 18th zoning hearing master hearing on this application, several commissioners received communications from a lobbyist purporting to represent the applicant. My office has advised the applicant and the attorney for the Bloomingdale Special District that rezoning applications in Hillsborough County are reviewed through a quasi-judicial process and that ex parte communications are prohibited. We have reviewed the transmitted communications and, excuse me, they do not address the record evidence before the board nor the merits of the application. Therefore, the board is able to proceed with the application as normal. However, we have advised the parties that there can be no discussion before the board on any matter or issue that was not raised to the zoning hearing master on August 18th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant here? Or staff need to introduce?
Just real quickly, just to introduce the project. The request is to rezone a 10.97 acre parcel located on the east side of Culbreth Road. The request is for a 33-unit single-family subdivision based on the surrounding development pattern in the Res 4 plan category. Staff did find this approvable, subject to conditions. The Planning Commission found it consistent, and the hearing officer recommended approval, and we're available for any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Applicant here? Good morning, sir.
For the record, William Sullivan, Potomac Land Company at 26336 State Road 19, Howey in the Hills, Florida, 34737. I wanted to first start by introducing you to the site. This site is, I want to go, it's a 10.97 acre site. The property is, to the west of the property is the Semino Elementary School. To the north of the property is a 1,500-foot road driveway owned by Semino Elementary School. To the west of the property is larger lots that were pre-Bloomingdale. To the south of us is 6,600 minimum square foot lots, which is smaller than our proposed lots of 6,900 square feet. There we go. So there's kind of an outlook of the, the whole area. I wanted to point out that the surrounding density, just so people understood, the east of Culbreth Road, we border Culbreth Road. East of Culbreth Road, we have the largest lots in the Bloomingdale, for the projects in Bloomingdale. We're not in Bloomingdale, but the ones that have been developed with the largest lots, and we also have the lowest density on the east side. On the west side of Culbreth Road, we have smaller lots than they would have, but they're on the other side of Culbreth Road. And our density ties the lowest density even on the west side of Culbreth Road for Bloomingdale. I wanted to show you a little bit about the community plan for 1 second, because the Brandon Community Plan, we're suburban, and the Brandon Community Plan suburban is there to protect, the owners and the residents in the area. In the Brandon Community Plan suburban, we're the only single-family project proposed since its inception, and even before in the Brandon Community Plan. And I don't know what happened to this map. It kind of messed up. But if you can see, they've got townhomes, commercial, office, townhomes, duplex, a bunch of different uses, multi-use, townhomes, single family and storage, and single family. We're the only single family project. We have the lowest allowable density in the Brandon Community Plan for the suburban district. We also, and so we've got also the lowest density proposed in the Brandon Community Plan for the suburban district. Future land use, of course, is R4. We're in the urban service area. We did meet out with the school. I wanted to go over that for 1 second. When we went with the school board did not want us to connect. So there's no connection to the school property, which is to the north and to the west of us. We have no connection at all. We're not allowed. And we proposed for the zoning, for the administrative, not the administrative variance, but the design exception, we proposed, we're going to add 2 crosswalk beacons, rapid flashing beacons, one there at the main intersection for the school crosswalk at Culbreth. Right now, it's just a crosswalk with no flashing beacons or anything else. And then we're going to put one in front of our property as well. I also wanted to point out the compatibility. We have moved the lots as far back from Culbreth as possible, just so that the overall community would not be impacted. Our lots are 900 feet from our driveway to the first entrance of Culbreth, and we're 400 feet south of the lots to the south. We have 400 feet because of the ponds to the south in there. We had community outreach, tremendous community outreach. June 19th, we met with the neighborhood. We had 20 neighbors. We satisfied condition 503.06. We knocked on every single adjacent owner's door and left information if there was no answer. On June 22nd, we had another second. We had a community. We had a meeting that we were invited by the Bloomingdale Neighborhood Association. Invited us, and we gladly went. We presented it there. We also then had a second community meeting that was attended by another 25 neighbors. All of those, the 2 community meetings were properly noticed at the times. And then we also allowed the president of the special taxing district and organizers to come to our property and walk the property as well. So we gave site inspections as well. And there's a map that shows it. Before our June 16th meeting, we had 6,600 square foot lots. After, we went to 6,900. Before our night meeting, we were at 50 by 120. We increased it to 50 by 138, and landscape buffers. We did not have a defined landscape buffer on Culbreth. We now have it defined, so that shows the setbacks. We also have vertical screening on, we have screening on Culbreth. We have standard A screening next to the school and the school property. And to the west, we're proposing a 10-foot, to the west side of the property, we're proposing the 10-foot screening, and with trees every 40, trees every 40 foot on center, and so we were only required the screening on the according to the code on the school property screening was the only thing we were required. The general site plan, I'm going to let Sean talk for just 2 seconds, and then Sean, this is Sean Cashin, our engineer.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Sean Cashin, 13825 ICOP Boulevard, Clearwater, Florida. I think you're all familiar with the site plan here, and as Bill had mentioned, the proposed lots are located 400 feet north of the residential area to the south, about 900 feet west of Culbreth Road, and so that is the layout. Press the right button here. Okay, there's the typical lot layout, 6,900 square foot lots. I think I might have skipped over something, sorry. Skipped over this. At some of the community outreach meetings, there were concerns about the drainage on the site. The site currently drains in off-site areas to the northwest, currently drain to the southeast corner of the site. It is a closed basin. We are aware of that. The county has a model, the LFI River watershed model, and the county has determined the base flood elevation at 43.9. We have run both a pre-development drainage analysis as well as a post-development drainage analysis, and we will be lowering, reducing the 100-year base flood elevation as part of this development. So we are going to be improving the situation. This drainage plan will be reviewed by both the county and SwiftMud as well. So there's going to be review going forward. All right, here's a concept plan of the site. It does show that 22% of the area is for retention. Again, it is a closed basin, 25% open space and retention, so a lot of open space areas. Here is the site data information for the site and the lot, 6,900 square foot lots. We have submitted a formal wetland determination to SwiftMud, basically just to verify there are no wetlands on the site, and there are no wetlands on the site. That was a survey presented to SwiftMud. Color concept plan again. The traffic, it's not a significant traffic generator, 364 daily trips. You have 20 AM peak out trips, roughly one car every 3 minutes. And the PM, people coming home, roughly about the same, one car every 3 minutes, a little bit under 3 minutes, that will be entering the site. That concludes our presentation. I'll be available to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This time, is any proponent testimony? Okay, opponent testimony. You have a total of 10 minutes. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Susie Watts. I'm president of Bloomingdale Neighborhood Association, and I did invite them to our meeting. I want our neighbors to be informed, and I honestly don't care about their opinion. I just think it needs to be recognized. I represent 27,000 Bloomingdale neighborhood. I live at 3615 Cold Creek Drive. The developer is proposing 2 flashing beacon crossings on Culbreth Road, rather than a sidewalk from the development to Chimino Elementary. This is an unsafe plan. On April 29th, 2022, 3 runners were struck by a car on Culbreth Road. One of them lost her life. Just 2 months ago, I witnessed a near tragedy also on that road. It was at the crosswalk with flashing beacons, which is what we're proposing, right by Campo YMCA. So I was stopped for them. There was 2 adults and 2 kids, and the car beside me decided to go around me and nearly hit them. Had to slam on the brakes. These incidents highlight the urgent need for a sidewalk on the east side of Culbreth Road, from Allwood Avenue to Chimino Elementary School. This short stretch, less than a quarter of a mile, would provide safe walking for the 253 families right beside the new development, and also the new 33 families. The current transportation plan fails to meet Brandon Community Plan Goal 17C, which calls for providing safe travel paths to schools. Instead, it proposes 2 additional flashing beacon crosswalks on Culbreth Road. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to be quicker. Got to share. It also is not compatible with Objective 2.52, create walkable patterns of development. Objective, ensure more walkable narratives. Objective, include efficient systems of internal circulation. I'm cutting it A sidewalk on the east side will save lives, reduce risk for our students and family, and bring our neighborhoods in line with county goals. Can you bring up my picture? This is a memorial to the runner who was killed. It stands as a painful reminder of what's at stake. Please help prevent another tragedy. Let's act now to build this sidewalk and provide safe passage for the families who call Bloomingdale home. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Tom Leach, President, Bloomingdale Special Taxing District, 4530 River Coast Boulevard, Valrico, Florida, 33596. The special district was created by this body 40 years ago as an extension of the county government in the community. We are charged with the stewardship and maintenance of the community as such. We invested in engineers and experts. We worked through our legal counsel to hire a land use attorney to examine the plan, and we found multiple flaws in it. I'd like to introduce our general counsel, Ms. Kathleen Rares, who will go through the highlights of this with you. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kathleen Rares. I'm an attorney with Becker and Polyakoff. I've had the honor of representing the Bloomingdale Special Tax District for several years. They've been joined by the Bloomingdale Association and hundreds, if not thousands, of residents in opposition to this petition for rezoning. The level of community concern here is reflected in the coordinated efforts of hundreds of residents who signed petitions that are in the record, and they're opposing the development for three primary reasons. There's insufficient plans to prevent flooding and handle stormwater runoff. There's a lack of compatibility with the adjacent homes, and there's safety risks proposed by the new intersections that don't meet the minimum intersection spacing requirements. First, with respect to the flooding and the stormwater runoff, we're in a new era of stormwater management. The current flood and drainage regulations are simply not sufficient to protect citizens, and if they were, the residents surrounding this potential development wouldn't experience flooding every single time that it rains. The expert report submitted by the district testified to the fact that the proposed plan is not sufficient. It doesn't address the runoff from the surrounding neighborhoods. This is a closed basin, which the applicant admitted, and the owners to the south are going to suffer if the development is allowed as currently planned. The plan shows only a 10-foot drainage easement across the west side of the residential areas, and it's the same 10 feet that's being used for a landscaping buffer. So the fences and the trees that the applicant showed you in his slide presentation are going to impede the runoff from the surrounding neighborhoods. The plan for the lot grading is supposed to direct the runoff from that landscaping buffer between the houses, down the street, and into the proposed dry retention areas. But the setback between the houses is only 5 feet, and it's again obstructed by ornamental shrubs, possible fences, and the expert report submitted by Richard Diaz, an engineer with over 48 years of experience, suggests that this plan is going to fail. The residents of Bloomingdale are not unwilling to compromise. They ask that you require a formal and complete drainage study from a third-party expert, or require that the first 10 feet on the western boundary of the lots be a designated drainage swale, not a landscape buffer, that's maintained by the HOA, with 10 feet after that serving as the landscaping buffer so the trees and the fences won't obstruct the drainage. They're asking that the lots be slightly wider so the swales between the homes are sufficient to handle the runoff and direct it in the location that the applicant is planning for it to go. The residents are simply asking that you not rubber stamp this plan in reliance on, evaluation for compliance with current codes that are not sufficient to protect the residents. Considering the devastating flood that this neighborhood suffered last year, it's not sufficient to rely on the current codes in place to deal with the stormwater runoff. Next, the residents are concerned about compatibility. Now, the applicant claims that the 6,900 square foot lots with 50-foot widths is consistent with the area. In reality, the directly adjacent lots are 150 feet wide. There's one exception, which is 125 feet wide. And those lots range between 31,000 square feet and 93,000 square feet. That's roughly 4 to 13 times larger than the proposed lots on this development. Now, the applicant's density calculation is also misleading. It plans to cluster the homes on less than half of the total land, causing a feels-like density of 6.26 dwelling units per acre. In the surrounding neighborhoods, even the ones to the south and to the east that were pointed out by the applicant, the density is 3.18 or 4.18 units per acre. The applicant claims that the plan complies with the Land Development Code's mandate for 4 dwelling units per acre, but in reality, under the Land Development Code Policy 2.44, the minimum density requirement applies only in areas that are identified as a center and connector, and this site is not within one of those areas. Finally, the public safety risks are a major concern here, which you already briefly heard about. The applicant is asking to be excused from curb access distance requirements that are in place to make the roads safer. Culbreth Road is a Class 5 road. That requires a minimum of 245 feet of spacing between access points. In this case, the first driveway is located 103 feet from the planned new intersection. The second driveway is 158 feet, and the third is 200 feet. That's 3 access points, all closer than the minimum 245-foot spacing requirement. The applicant is attempting to justify the safety risk by claiming that the development will provide critically needed housing in Hillsborough County. But this is 33 homes in the $700,000 to $800,000 range that are not designed to address a critical housing shortage. The substandard access points proposed on this section of Culbreth Road are already going to be a problem where they have a severe traffic issue due to queuing for Chimino Elementary. When the residents of Bloomingdale expressed concern at the meetings that were held, the applicant suggested they use the traffic app Waze to find a different route or that they turn left, apparently not realizing that Culbreth Road dead ends in a cul-de-sac less than a quarter mile down the street. In conclusion, Commissioners, the district is asking that the application be denied as proposed and remanded for modification or at least further review for flooding, for compatibility, for safety issues. The 25,000 residents of Bloomingdale, they deserve protection in enforcement of the current zoning and traffic restrictions. Exceptions should only be granted if the applicant improves safety, alleviates the risk of flooding.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. This time, the applicant has an opportunity for a 5-minute rebuttal.
Sean Cashin, for the record. First thing with the sidewalk, we would love to have extended a sidewalk north along the east side of Culbreth Road. We've done it on other projects as well. We cannot do it in this case because the existing right-of-way that is available from the curb to the right-of-way is about 4 to 5 feet along the entire eastern side, and we have to place a 5-foot wide sidewalk. We just realistically cannot do it. We would love to do it. In lieu of that, that's why we are proposing the...
When this road was designed, and I want to talk about the sidewalk thing because it's very important. When the road was designed, it was designed by the Schimbergs, who you might know their name from the thing. When they designed the road, they made it feel like a boulevard. So they pushed all the right-of-way. I mean, they had a nice boulevard with a nice sidewalk on the west side. On the east side, they literally left no room. So there's no room anywhere at all. They didn't design it like a normal road. Back then, that's how they designed it, and that's how that was through there. I want to also state that we have the lowest density in the suburban district in 25 years, in closing. The largest lots in the lowest density on Culbreth Road in the neighborhood, tied to the lowest density in all of the neighborhood. The lots are concentrated 600 feet from the entrance to Culbreth Road. 22% of the site is pond. If we have a problem, a situation where we need to provide more drainage, we will provide more drainage. Whatever the water management district and the county comes up with and approves, we will do. We're here to make the situation better. In the zoning hearing master, Sean pointed out that we were going to lower the 100-year flood by what was that, half a foot?
It's going to be in the range of 2 to 6 inches.
2 to 6 inches. 2 to 6 inches. Okay, sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, that was the other issue about drainage. It's always a concern. And we've done the existing and proposed drainage studies. And we will lower that 100-year base flood elevation somewhere in the range of 2 to 6 inches. Again, we're aiming to improve the situation, and that's what we will do.
All right, and then, you know, we've added screening that was not required. We have the screening on Culbert Road and the screening on the west side to be more compatible with the area. We tried to push it back as far as possible. We tried to bring it to the conclusion, and of course, the rapid flashing beacons. And my time is up.
Appreciate the comments.
Thank you.
Planning Commission.
Thank you. The subject property is located in the residential 4 category, the urban service, and the subject property is within the Brandon Community Plan. Proposed single-family residential development is compatible with the existing residential character and density of the surrounding area. Additionally, the proposal meets the intent of the neighborhood protection policies under Objective 4.4 in the future land use section that require development be compatible with the surrounding area. The residential 4 future land use can allow of up to dwelling units per gross acre. With 10.97 acres, the subject site can be considered for up to 43 dwelling units. The request for 33 single-family units is under the maximum allowable density for this future land use category, and therefore the proposal meets the requirements of Objective 2.1 and its accompanying policies, as well as development that's expected in the residential 4 future land use category. Goal 1 of the Brandon Community Plan states that new development and transportation infrastructure investments should place emphasis on proximity to community and social services, walkability, and creating a healthy street life. The proposed development includes a 20-foot landscape buffer with a sidewalk easement along Culbreth Road and includes a 5-foot sidewalk along both sides of the proposed internal private roadway for the development, meeting the intent of this goal and direction. Based upon those considerations, Planning Commission staff finds the proposed plan development consistent with the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan, subject to the conditions proposed by Development Services. Thank you.
Hearing Master.
The zoning hearing master reviewed the applicant's request for a rezoning from AS1 to plan development for the development of 33 single-family homes with no PD variations or waivers requested. The application is supported by the Development Services Department, who found it compatible with the development pattern in the area. Testimony in opposition was provided at the ZHM hearing and submitted into the record. Concerns expressed pertain to incompatibility of the proposed single-family lots with the surrounding lot sizes, the possible negative impact of the proposed development's traffic, flooding, and the environmental condition of the site, and no demonstrated need for the subdivision. The opposition included legal representation of the Bloomingdale Special Taxing District, who retained 3 experts to evaluate the proposed rezoning and provide their professional analysis. The analyses were submitted into the record. The ZHM stated that the majority of the issues identified by the opposition are detailed subdivision issues that will be analyzed at the next stage of review by Hillsborough County and all other required reviewing agencies. These issues include drainage and stormwater retention. The applicant does not request any PD variations or waivers. The project will be required to adhere to all applicable land use regulations. The zoning hearing master concluded that the request to rezone to plan development for the development of 33 single-family homes is compatible with the area. The request is consistent with the code and the comprehensive plan as stated by both the Development Services Department and Planning Commission staff. And no reviewing agencies, including environmental and transportation, have opposed the rezoning application. The zoning hearing master concluded with a recommendation of approval.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board? Commissioner Wallstrom?
I'm going to not repeat my speech from earlier, but it's the exact same situation. They have all 3 measures of approval if I lived there, I'd be begging for this. Commissioner Cohen, you and I had killed like an R35 on racetrack in Hillsborough, and now, of course, live local. I mean, we're going to get worse. And this is the lowest possible density that's going to go here. It's already approved for us on the FLU, on the future land use map. I hear the concerns, but one thing that didn't make sense on the advocating for, this is a 30-person home community, and advocating to require this developer to build a sidewalk for the 250 home community or whatever was mentioned, that just doesn't sound fair to this property owner to have that burden shift on them, besides the fact that it's not even feasible because of there's no engineering right-of-way left. I would say ma'am, what was your name, the attorney's name? I will say to you that you might be the most well-spoken attorney that I've had here in the past 3 years, and I congratulate you on that. But what you essentially asked for is, I mean, throughout this 1,113-page backup, it references numerous times that our own county engineer that we approve to be here, through our county administrator that we hire, she hires him to, down the food chain, that they are the person that we trust to be the most knowledgeable with our code, and they specifically reviewed this. So having a requirement for a third-party outside engineer to review this, I mean, that could create a situation where every single applicant comes in and starts saying, well, I want my own third-party requirement, and it would just further dilute and confuse our already, in my opinion, complicated rezoning processes that are here. So I think the same reasons before on the last one, if they were asking, I just want to tell the community, if they were asking for one level of density over what was already approved, I would move to deny this immediately without question, even if it was found approvable by our own internal staff. But they are not. They are asking for what is already there. And I would say, though, that in these situations, sometimes when you say no now, in a couple of years, what I've seen is you end up with something worse. So I don't believe that we're going to hear competent, substantial legal evidence for us to deny this rezoning. And I know that it's not what you want to hear, but the stormwater drainage and runoff, everything, Adam, those all get fixed and confirmed after, if this goes through, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
We have this conversation a lot, but for the benefit of the community, I have you repeat it, and I apologize for that. I'll yield, Mr. Chair.
All right, so we need a motion.
Move for approval.
Motion, Commissioner Myers.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 6-1. Commissioner Cameron Cepeda voted no.
Okay, F5.
Commissioners, the next item is agenda item F5, major mod application 25-0933. The request is for a major modification to a portion of the PD that's located on west of US 301, adjacent to the bypass canal on East 121st Avenue. The request is to modify this portion of the PD to increase overall entitlements within the project and also modify the range of uses and also modify buffering screening. Staff would find this approvable with conditions. The Planning Commission found it consistent, and the hearing officer also is recommending approval. We're available for any questions. Thank you.
Is the applicant here?
Morning again, Cammie Corbett with the law firm of Hill, Ward, and Henderson. I don't really have anything to add. The only reason why this project is not on consent is because of the weird policy that you have that if a project's on a failing roadway, it has to be pulled off consent and presented to you. So unless you have any questions, I don't have anything else to add.
All right, thank you. Anyone here in support of the application? Anyone in opposition? Planning Commission?
The subject property is located in the Community Mixed Use 12 Future Land Use category. The site is in the Urban Service Area, and the subject property is located within the limits of the East Lake Orient Park Community Plan. The proposed light industrial use is compatible with the existing character and density of the surrounding area, which includes multiple light and heavy commercial uses as well as light industrial uses. The residential developments within the area are located across the Tampa Bypass Canal. Additionally, the proposed development includes a 10-foot Type C landscape buffer with a 6-foot PVC fence along the southwest border of the property that abuts a residential use. Furthermore, the existing access adjacent to the residential use is to be removed and located further east on East 21st Avenue. Additionally, the proposal meets the intent of the neighborhood protection policies in the future land use section under Objective 4.4 that require new developments to be compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. The economic goal of the East Lake Orient Park Community Plan seeks to provide opportunities for business growth and jobs within the community plan boundary. An additional 150,000 square feet of light industrial uses in a predominantly commercial and industrial area will provide additional opportunities for business growth and provide additional jobs while preserving the existing community character. Therefore, the proposed request is consistent with the intent of the East Lake Orient Park Community Plan. Based upon those considerations, Planning Commission staff finds the proposed modification consistent with the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan, subject to the conditions proposed by Development Services. Thank you.
Thank you. Hearing Master.
The zoning hearing master reviewed the proposed major modification, which applies only to parcel 2B and is requested to increase the permitted square footage to 150,000 square feet, eliminate the permitted office land uses, restrict open storage as an accessory use only. No waivers are requested. PD variation is requested to reduce the required 20-foot wide buffer with type B screening to a 10-foot wide buffer with type C screening adjacent to two folio numbers. This is considered by the zoning hearing master to be justified by a commitment to provide more screening under the type C standards, including a requirement to provide a 6-foot high wall with tree plantings. The zoning hearing master noted that no testimony in opposition was provided at the ZHM hearing. The zoning hearing master concluded that the proposed modification is compatible with the surrounding development pattern and consistent with the comprehensive plan and the code, and recommended approval.
Okay, Commissioner Wolstel.
Just if you guys could send me whatever the policy is, as I've pointed out in budget meetings, we haven't even 50% funded our annual road maintenance and repaving, so to have a policy of it being a substandard road, I mean, all of them are likely substandard, so just send me that policy number, please. I'll move for approval.
Second.
We got a motion to approve. Commissioner Wolstel, second Commissioner Cohen. Don't see anyone else in the queue. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
F6.
Commissioners, next on agenda item F6, rezoning standard 25-1143. This is a request to rezone a 1.14 acre parcel that's located at the northwest of the intersection of State Road 60 and Lamona Road. The request is to rezone from commercial neighborhood to commercial general. Staff is recommending approval. Planning Commission found it consistent, and the hearing officer also recommended approval. We'll be available for any questions. Thank you.
The applicant here.
Cami Corbett with Hill Ward Henderson. This is another relatively easy one. We're just going from CN to CG, which is similar to the other properties in the area. We did have one email in the record of someone objecting that they didn't know exactly what was going to be placed on the site, but they didn't come to the hearing and didn't otherwise try to reach out. And I'm here to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Anyone here in support of the application? Anyone in opposition? Planning Commission?
The subject property is located in the residential 9 future land use category. The site is in the urban service area. The subject property is also located within the limits of the Brandon Community Plan. The proposal meets the intent of future land use section objective 4 and it's modifying policies that require new development to be compatible to the surrounding neighborhood. The immediate area is predominantly characterized by light commercial uses with single-family residential located to the northwest of the site. A drainage retention area directly north of the site provides a physical buffer between the proposed development and the nearby residential uses. Additionally, the site is located at the intersection of Lamona Road and West Brandon Boulevard, both of which are lined with light commercial development. The proposed request for commercial general zoning is compatible with the existing land use pattern and will complement the character of the surrounding area. The subject site is located within the Urban Center Character District of the Brandon Community Plan. Goal 7 of the plan focuses on advancing Brandon's economic competitiveness in the region through a diversified economy and broader employment base. One of the strategies of this development adjacent to identified existing industrial and commercial districts contains the most intense land uses and includes regional shopping centers and the State Road 60 Overlay District. In this district, commercial and mixed-use developments will be encouraged with various building heights between 3 and 10 stories. The proposed rezoning from commercial neighborhood to commercial general aligns well with the Brandon Community Plan vision. Based upon those considerations, Planning Commission staff finds the proposed rezoning consistent with the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan. Thank you.
Hearing Master.
The zoning hearing master considered the applicant's request for a rezoning to the commercial general zoning district. The property is 1.14 acres in size, currently zoned commercial neighborhood and designated residential 9 in the comprehensive plan. The parcel is located within the urban service area and within the Brandon Community Plan. The zoning hearing master noted that no testimony in opposition was provided during the hearing. The zoning hearing master concluded that the request for commercial general is compatible with the development pattern and consistent with the land development code and with the comprehensive plan, and recommended approval.
All right, can we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Myers.
Services, item G1A today is vacate ID V25-0018. This agenda item is a petition by Lincoln Ben West LLC to vacate a portion of improved public right-of-way consisting of approximately 0.52 acres. The proposed vacate area is generally located north of Big Bend Road and west of South US Highway 301 in Riverview. The petitioner has submitted this request in connection with the redevelopment of its properties located at 10102 and 10104 Old Big Bend Road. They propose to construct and dedicate at their sole cost and expense a realigned segment of Old Big Bend Road, which will enhance traffic safety at the intersection of Lincoln Road and Big Bend Road, and tie into a broader future realignment of Old Big Bend Road between Simmons Road and Lincoln Road. The vacate will only become effective once the realigned segment of Old Big Bend Road within folio 077-552-0000 is constructed and accepted by the county. Driveway B is constructed with a temporary public access easement being granted to the county, and a notice of completion of the vacating conditions is signed by the county and recorded in the public record. Reviewing departments, agencies, and utility providers have raised no objection to the request, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, is the applicant here? Good morning.
Good morning, Elise Batzel, Stearns Weaver Miller. We don't have any further comments, but we are available for any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any proponent testimony? Anyone in opposition? Planning Commission?
Commissioners, that was a vacate petition, so we can go to the zoning item right now.
Yeah, and we'll defer that until the next item.
Yeah, and I'll brief overview of that. The related item G1B is rezoning PD 25-0919 is a request to rezone a 4.5 acre parcel from ASC1 and RSC2 to a planned development to accommodate 14,500 square feet of sit-down restaurant uses. Again, it's located at the northwest corner of Old Big Bend Road and Lincoln Road. As evidenced by this plan, they are proposing, as noted in the vacate petition, to vacate portions of the Old Big Bend right-of-way, but as this plan shows, they're showing the realigned roadway on the plan, and it's been conditioned to, similar to the vacate petition, to assure completion and operation of that road before vacating the right-of-way. Staff is recommending approval, and we're available for any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Applicant need to add anything?
Yes, sir.
We're good? Okay. Anyone here to speak in support? Anyone in opposition? Planning Commission?
Thank you. The subject property is located in the Urban Mixed Use 20 Future Land Use category. The site is in the urban service area, and the subject property is located within the limits of the Riverview Community Plan, as well as the South Shore Area-Wide Systems Plan. The proposed sit-down restaurant use is compatible with the existing character and density of the surrounding area, which includes multiple light and heavy commercial uses. Furthermore, the development proposal includes a lower intensity Used to keep the building massing and scale compatible with the existing single-family homes to the north of the site, as well as a retention pond and realignment of Old Big Bend Road. The retention pond and proposed road along the north of the site will provide additional buffering and separation between the proposed commercial use and the existing single-family residences to the north. Goal 2 of the Riverview Community Plan requires future development and redevelopment comply with the Riverview District Community Concept Map. The site is located within the mixed-use district, which intends to focus and direct development toward walkable, mixed-use town center locations throughout the community, while also respecting existing land uses. Goal 7 of the community plan encourages economic development by supporting local businesses while attracting a variety of new uses and services. A sit-down restaurant without a drive-through aligns with Goal 7 by providing economic opportunities and family-oriented businesses within the appropriate areas of the Riverview Community Plan. Based upon those considerations, Planning Commission staff finds the proposed plan development consistent with the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan, subject to the conditions proposed by Development Services. Thank you.
All right, Hearing Master.
The zoning hearing master reviewed the applicant's request for a rezoning from ASC1 and RSC2 to a planned development district for the development of 2 sit-down restaurants totaling 14,500 square feet, with no PD variations or waivers requested. The county's transportation review staff had no objection to the rezoning application, subject to the proposed conditions. Transportation improvements are required that result in the construction of a realigned Old Big Bend Road and Lincoln Road, as well as other improvements that are completed before the developer can obtain a certificate of occupancy for the project. No testimony in opposition was provided at the ZHM hearing. The applicant's representative testified that she has received messages in support of the rezoning request. The zoning hearing master concluded that the request for a rezoning to plan development for the development of 2 sit-down restaurants is compatible with the area and consistent with the code and the comprehensive plan. The zoning hearing master concluded with a recommendation of approval.
All right, can we have a motion for G1A and G1B?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Woolstle, second, Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, next item.
Next item related to items G2A and G2B. Item G2A is PRS application 25-1203. It's a modification to modify a number of development parcels located consisting of 25.61 acres in the area shown in the map and within Apollo Beach. The request is to basically transfer a total of 4 units from certain development pods to the other development pods within this area. No overall increase in units would occur as part of this transfer. Again, the area, this map is where the units are being transferred to. The DRI is related changes to the DRI to make the same changes to the DRI map H to reflect the transfer of units. Staff is recommending approval of both items, and we're available for any questions. Thank you.
All right, is the applicant here?
Cami Corbett, Hill Ward Henderson. I don't have anything additional to add unless you have any questions on either this item or the related item. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any proponent testimony? Any opponent testimony? If not, can we have a motion for both G2A and G2B? Motion, Commissioner Myers. Do I have a second? Second, Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Okay. Next item.
Next item related items G3A and G3B. Agenda item G3A is a minor modification, PRS 25-1200. The request is for modification to a portion of the Waterset PD located at the northeast corner of 19th Avenue and the Waterset Boulevard extension. The request is to modify the layout of the development tracks 23 and 25 in this area to basically and add a fire station track within this project, reducing the commercial configuration by two acres to accommodate the fire station track. They're modifying entitlements to reflect a reduction in the commercial into commercial track, also updating conditions to reflect development layouts as is current in the site. The DRI modification is similar changes to the DRI development order to accommodate these same changes that are occurring through the PRS application. Staff is recommending approval of both applications. We're available for any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is the applicant here? Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin Reale for the record, 401 East Jackson Street, with Stearns Weaver Miller. The Watershed DRI is required to provide a fire station. It wasn't reflected on the map, and so we're just adjusting the map to do that. If during your review any of the commissioners notice that there are other changes to conditions and other items noted, simply because this is a very large development, and every time we go in and open it up, we do some cleanup items. So we're happy to answer questions on any of those cleanup items, but the request itself is very straightforward. We reduced the entitlements for the commercial commensurate with the 2.5 acre reduction, simply because we can't use all those entitlements anyway. There was no point in asking you all for an increase to squeeze in the fire station. So with that, we request approval. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Any proponent testimony? Anyone in opposition? All right, can we have a motion for G3A and G3B?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Cohen, second Commissioner Wostel. Please record your vote.
Motion carried, 7-0.
Okay, next item.
Commissioners, the final item then is I-1. This is a monthly status report on Live Local Act development projects. I would note a format change in the report. We have started highlighting in both the table and on the map the new applications received since the last monthly update, and those are highlighted in red. I have no further comments from Bill. If you have any questions.
All right, Commissioner Wostel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to note that there are more additional items on this, and I wanted to notify the board that I have already began contacting, I have one more to go, our local state delegation, notifying them of a future item that I will be bringing for Live Local, not only as it relates to Hillsborough County, but the entire state of Florida. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And can we have a motion to accept the
So moved.
Motion, Commissioner Wostel.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Motion carried, 7-0.
All right, thank you. Board members, before we adjourn, I'd like to ask for a moment of personal privilege. It's with extreme heavy heart that I announced it yesterday. My good friend and longtime legislative aide, Rich Reedy, passed away after a very short fight with cancer. I cannot say enough good things about Rich. He was a good man, Christian, consummate professional, who was a true public servant, always putting himself, putting service above himself. Rich was brilliant and extremely creative. He was a policy wonk, and I would affectionately refer to him as the brains behind the operation. Amongst his many initiatives, he led the charge many years ago to protect children from sexual predators when Hillsborough County was the first county in the state to adopt an internet safety program in all of our libraries. And he took that wisdom to the state to where he championed legislation that was approved, that was adopted statewide. This all came about very quickly, and I would just ask for you to keep his wife Donna in your thoughts and prayers. I know Bonnie is going to send out a notice out later today, and we'll keep you posted on any arrangement. So just wanted to announce that and say God bless you, Rich. We love you, we miss you, and we're adjourned.